our last artist. Definitely not last, but definitely not least. That is for sure. We've got Lee coming up. Lee, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, how are ya?
I'm here. I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for asking. All
Good.
right. You enjoying
I'm
tonight?
just still seeing Brett, gigantic one. I love you,
Yeah.
Brett. I'm so glad to hear you were going to be on tonight. I really enjoyed it last time we were on together. Very good. I like your stuff a lot.
Right. He's always so fun. He's always fun to have on here. So, Lee,
Yeah,
I
he's a much
actually
nicer guy than I am. There's no doubt
I can't hear you. Sorry, Lee.
about it. I'm sorry. I said he's a much nicer guy than I am.
Oh,
You know, he's a good.
I think you're probably right up there too.
I am. I trust me.
Well, awesome. Well, Lee, you've been doing this a little while too. I was reading over your
Oh gosh.
bio
Well,
and
I've been doing music since I was
yeah.
8 years old. I've been doing stuff in front of people, and all through college. I didn't get saved till I was 25, so I was 25 when I started writing Christian music, and I'm now like 90 or something, close to that anyway. So it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, and you started by playing what, violin? Did I read that right?
I did start by playing the violin because they wouldn't let me play the guitar for two reasons. Number one, you couldn't get free lessons from the school, and number two, you couldn't rent it by the month because they didn't think I was going to stick with it. Right. So I played the violin for 5 years. That was the deal. Put it down, picked up the guitar. Wish I never put it down, actually, now, But when I was 13, it was like,
Yeah.
and I've been playing the guitar for 50, I don't know how old, I'm going to be 64. I started playing, I was 30, 51 years.
So I guess you kind of proved them wrong. You stuck with it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, what do you have for us to start us out tonight?
Okay, well, what I have started out is for many years, or at least 38 years, I've been a Christian. I've been writing, songs, and somehow just one day I started putting scriptures to music. I don't even know how it started. And long story short, I've done over 400 already of scriptures to music. They're little shorts on YouTube, and I incorporate them with my songs now, and it's cool because I know my grandkids and. They don't. I mean, 12 seconds is too much for them to be paying attention for something. So you need these little short videos, And I think that people can recall things better to music,
Yeah.
right? And like I see a verse that I did, and I hear it now, So that's so I've been doing a lot of those, and tying them into my now what I call my long songs. Because some of these are as little short as 12 seconds and no longer than a minute. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing. In fact, I stopped after 365 of those scriptures, and I tried to, and I was going to go write, and I was supposed to keep writing. I could not. I mean, for 3 months, I could not get a song. And I went, okay, maybe I need to ask a different question. Next thing I know, I'm doing these again. And then they're just coming out like boom, boom, boom. So it was obviously I'm supposed to keep going with the scriptures. So that's what I've been doing.
Cool.
Anyway, so the first song, well, actually, I'm going to do a couple of the scriptures. So Psalm 46:10. I'm not in tune. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I'll be exalted in the earth. So that's about the extent of them. So. Psalm 23, verse 1. Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Makes me to lie down in green pastures, and leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. Okay, so I wrote a song many years years ago. I couldn't sleep one night. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. I got up, and happened to live, it was a blessing, near the beach. And so I took a walk on the beach, and I'm noticing all these, with all the junk that's on the beach and the debris and everything, that there's these pebbles, okay, that are just shiny and beautiful and multicolored, and they're very attractive. And it's like you want to go over, you're drawn to them. And I went back and I started to write the song "Pebbles in the Sand," and I think I came up with a chorus and a verse, and I promptly put it in my drawer for like 2 years. But I finished the song, so "Pebbles in the Sand," and it's about, they get shiny and attractive to you because they've been battered about in the waves, and that's obviously trials in our lives. That's what God does to us as the pebbles in the sand. And anyway, so I'm going to open this up with James 1, verses 2 and 3, and then I'll go right into the song. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Pebbles in the sand, my Lord is shaping me like pebbles in the sand. He's not forsaking me, but changing rough to smooth, a rock that he can use, a pebble in the sand. Pebbles in the sand, my Lord is shaping me like pebbles in the sand. Not forsaking me, but in the waves again, I'm smoother still, and then a pebble in the sand. Glistening in the sun, smooth inside and catch the eye of everyone. Listening to the waves that crash about the shore and leaving evermore pebbles in the sand. Pebbles in the sand, my Lord is shaping me like pebbles in the sand. Not forsaking me, but changing rough to smooth, I'm just a rock that he can use, pebble in the sand. Pebbles in the sand, my Lord is shaping me like pebbles in the sand. He's not forsaking me, but in the waves again, well, I'm smoother still, and then a pebble in the sand. Sparkling on the land, reflects the light that shines on down from God to man, showing all who see the captivating hue that colors me and you, those pebbles in the sand. And when he lets me see a smoother part of me, a gentler loving soul, ever closer to the whole that he wants me to be, I consider loss again, being subject to his reign, knowing all does work for good when he makes it understood. Pebbles in the sand, my Lord is shaping me like pebbles in the sand. He's not forsaking me, but changing rough to smooth, I'm just a rock that he can use, a pebble in the sand. Pebbles in the sand, my Lord is shaping me like pebbles in the sand. He's not forsaking me, but in the waves again, I'm smoother still, and then a pebble in the sand. Pebbles in the sand, pebbles in the sand.
Very cool.
Okay.
So you said on that song, you started it and you put it into a junk drawer for about 2 years.
I put it in a drawer for a couple of years. Yeah, yeah. So it was. That was
How long
one
did
of
it take?
How long did it take me
How long did
to?
it take after you pulled it back out to finish it?
Not long. I had a verse and a chorus. It didn't take long. Some songs just come smoothly. Some songs you just beating the daylights out of your brains. And back in the day there was no online, so you have rhyming dictionaries and thesauruses and all this kind of stuff, trying to get it to work and all that. But this one I don't think came. This was not that hard. So
That came to you.
anyway, the next song I'm going to do is a song I wrote for my wife, and she. What you need to know is two things: that she collects those like English teacups with the saucers, and all that kind of stuff. And she loves candles. Always loves candles. Of course, now they're the fake candles, and she's got just a little remote, and she just goes and turns them all on, so she doesn't have to run around and light them all up. But anyway, so this is a song called "Teacups and Tenderness," and I'm going to open it up with Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Teacups and tenderness, the heart of my home. Rest in the candlelight so I'll never roam. A loving wife crumbles a heart made of stone. With teacups and tenderness, the heart of my own, the heart of my own. Far above rubies and jewels is a worth. A faithful wife's love gives a man a new birth. Life's precious partner that God has decreed to honor and cherish her. It's wisdom indeed. Teacups and tenderness, the heart of my own. Rest in the candlelight so I'll never roam. A loving wife crumbles a heart made of stone. With teacups and tenderness, the heart of my own, the heart of my own. My heart safely trusts in the soul of my wife, and she'll do only good all the days of my life. Her house clothed in scarlet, her heart clothed in love. With beauty and wisdom, she's a gift from above. For better or worse was the vow. She's making everything better somehow. With teacups and tenderness, the heart of my home. Rest in the candlelight so I'll never roam. And a loving wife crumbles this heart made of stone. With teacups and tenderness, heart of my own, the heart of my own, the heart of my own.
Now, are you working on any current projects or?
Well, I tried I tried to, and I had to go back to doing more scriptures. So yeah, I'm putting out a scripture every day on YouTube, and last year's scriptures every day on Facebook. Last week, I just passed 400 of them. So I'm still trying to Red's got to catch up to me with how many concerts he's done, see, but I'm like really taking off here, so. Anyway, so it's another quick song I wrote for my wife. So you have to know that I'm not a big fan of yard work. And one day I just thought, you know what? I don't remember what it was, raking or something. And I said, let me bless my wife and see, and she was blessed. I didn't really enjoy doing it, but it was a blessing to her. So I actually wrote a song about it. I think I love you a little bit more than I hate yard work. I think I love you a little bit more than I hate yard work. Oh, I really, really, really hate yard work. Oh man, I really hate yard work. I really, 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 really hate yard work. But I think I love you more than I hate yard work. And there you have it.
You really, really hate yard work.
I really hate yard work.
I'm sure she appreciated that song.
You can't really compare how much you hate yard work, how much you love your wife. They're just incomparable things, So
You just got to bear.
So I do.
Bear.
So I do have a sense of humor too. So this next song I wrote, this is Jesus on the Cross. This is probably the song that gets people the most, well, almost. And I wrote this way early on. I look back and I said, you know what, I got the theology pretty quick. I mean, I grew up Jewish, okay, if you hadn't figured out from the last name. I had no grid for Christianity whatsoever. I mean, I know that you guys had trees and you got way more presents than we got in Junkie Hanukkah, little thing for 8 days, and they just show up one day and there's big giant presents and all that. So that's all I really knew about Christmas. In fact, when I decided I needed a Christmas tree, I didn't really have all the facts. And I went and I got all the stuff, and I can't figure out how the balls go on the tree. So I just I pulled the cap off and I was clipping them on the branches, and they were I knew this wasn't right, because I'm an architect, I kind of figured some of this stuff out. They're sticking out at all these angles, and I'm like, something's not right. I had no idea there was just a simple little S-hook that you're supposed to hang these things on the branches with. So I just had no grid, none whatsoever. So, like Paul, confusing, very much confusing. I'm like, I counted 12. I counted all the guys with all the names, Thaddeus. Where's this Paul guy coming from? So I had a lot to learn. But anyway, this is a song. It's called "The Hammer." It's Jesus on the cross. Obviously, Christ and Christ crucified. You see my little cross hanging here? I don't know if you see it. It's hanging. No?
Yeah, I totally can see it. Very cool.
Anyway, it's called "The Hammer," and it's Jesus on the cross. And since I've done these scriptures, I've added these little scriptures to it. So this is Isaiah. I'm going to open up with Isaiah 53:5 and then go into the song. He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him. By his stripes we are healed. Crown of thorns upon his head, purple robe to wear. Love he showed them, honored by the cross he had to bear. Pressing on to Calvary with strength till now unknown, the Lamb of God was ready to ascend upon his throne. the hammer came down again to pieces of willing skin. Didn't they know whose arms were open wide? Then the hammer came down again, the nail went further in. That was the time to pay for every sin. Agony with every breath, the soldiers that at sea, watching as they spilled his blood across eternity. The veil was torn, the sun grew dark, those watching stood in awe. The soldier cried that surely this must be the Son of God. And the hammer came down again to pieces of willing skin. Didn't they know whose arms were open wide? Then the hammer came down again, the nail went further in. That was the time to pay for every sin. That held him securely on that cross. What kept him there was surely his love for us. And the hammer came down again to pieces of willing skin. Didn't we know whose arms were open wide? The hammer came down again, the nail went further in. Now was the time to pay for every, now was the time to pay for every, now was the time to pay for every sin.
Nice. Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like how you start everything with your scriptures first.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a new thing. I've only been doing this for a little over a year now, but and yeah, it's kind of cool how some of them worked out, and I just write new ones in the same, to go with the song. so that's pretty cool. How much time do I have?
So this is actually your last one, your last song.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Wow. All right. Okay. So this is a socioeconomic, religious, environmental, politically incorrect, tongue-in-cheek song that's been banned in certain parts of the country. And when I said that to Red, he instead of taking it as the, so you're laughing, right? Instead of laughing, he was very concerned that maybe they were going to shut us down if it's been banned in certain parts of the country. And I said, no, it was only banned from the church that I wrote it for a show they were doing. They wouldn't let me do it. Anyway, but it's called Toxic Wasted Blues. It's basically a song that says, you know what, God is still sovereign, all the crazy stuff that goes on. And so I wrote this song in 1991. I had to change some of the things because people weren't really talking about acid rain anymore after 30 some years. And then COVID hit, and so I wrote another verse. And well, now something else just happened, and so I wrote yet another verse. And so this is going to be the world premiere of the last verse. So I guess this song could just continue to be added onto as weird things happen in the world. But anyway, so this is called Toxic Wasted Blues. Let me turn the thing. God is always faithful in everything he said. Even though the climate change is messing with your head, he'll straighten out your life if you stay within his will. He's even sovereign over every single oil spill. So don't worry about your country, don't you fret about your land. So the United States, environmentally toxic, wasted blues in his hand. He'll give your life abundantly, and on that you can bet. He knows the many trillions that our country is in debt. So just lean your life upon him, you surely will prevail. He's the one who gives that dying breath to every slaughtered whale. So don't worry about your country, don't you fret about your land. Got the United States, environmentally toxic, wasted blues in his hand. He watches them raise the utility bills, and he knows all the contents of all the landfills. He's aware that the ozone is leaving, and he's created the half of the nuclear waste. Well, he's totally sovereign in every way, and surely this country just needs him today. When you prosper, and he sees you when you lack. He knows the name of everyone who died today on crack, and he loves the one who's upright, one who's rotten to the core. He's not concerned at all about threats of nuclear war. So live your life with trust in him, you know you cannot lose, and know that he's one step ahead of all the daily news. So don't you worry about your country, don't you fret about your land. It's the United States, environmentally toxic, wasted blues in his hand. Well, I had to write another verse after COVID, and it goes something like this. He might see you take the vaccine, he might see you say, not me. He knows that masks are just to see how compliant you will be to the ones who have the power to say what's right and what is wrong. And who has the power is the only thing that this has been about all along. So live your life, trust in him, there is no other way to get out from under the evil you see is all around today. So don't you worry about your country, don't you fret about your land. He's got the United States environmentally toxic Marxist blues in his hand. All right, well, they took a shot at Donald Trump, and I had to put another verse on this song, and it goes just like this. It's never been sung before. Ready? You see, they took a shot at Donald Trump during his speech. If God didn't turn his head, his life would now be out of reach. He's the one who has the power over life and death, you see. And what the devil meant for evil, God used for the greater victory. So trust in him at all times. It is a better path than trusting in yourself. Come on now, just do the math. So don't you worry about your country, don't you fret about your land. Let the United States environmentally, notoriously, politically, unequivocally, significantly, assassination attempted to blues in his hand. Oh yeah, and you ain't going yet if it ain't your time. There it is.
Wow, that is a lot of words.
That's a lot of. It's the short. It was on the CD I put out many years ago with the original part. Twice as many words and half the length of any other song. So, yeah, it's a lot of words.
Nicely done getting them.
I even made up words for this last one. So you know.
Oh man.
Attemptedly, I don't think attemptedly is actually a word, but I made that up because
You made it work. Well, Lee, thank you for this evening. Hey, how can our viewers get in touch with you? How can they connect?
Well, let's see. Lee Goldberg Music on YouTube. YouTube's got everything. It's got my one album on it. It's got all my long songs. It's got over 400 scriptures to music right now. So there's 3 different playlists in there. And Facebook, Lee Goldberg Music. I have a page, and I have my other thing that's not the page, it's me, and Instagram and TikTok, Lee Goldberg Music everywhere. So that's how you can find the stuff.
Very cool. Well, Lee, thank you for being a part, and hopefully we'll see you at the after party.
Okay, thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you.